Welcome in. This is Paid for Play, episode 2. I'm Sam. He's Goose. We are Paid for Play, powered by Pick City. Goose, how you doing today? This is a great opening slate we have on the docket. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm originally from New Jersey, big Rutgers fan, but I'm vacationing in Vermont today, so I'll be missing the Rutgers opening game. But I have full faith in Chop Nation.
It's nice to have like a full slate on the docket. I mean, last week was kind of like a little tease, but this week, I mean, it's hard to remember a better opening weekend than the one we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just loaded games from noon to probably midnight. It's going to be a good one. We do have a very special guest on the show today, host of one of the best college football podcasts out in the country. Just got picked up by the Volume with Colin Cowherd. We have Jake Crain from the J-Boy Show with us. And Jake, how you doing today?
What's up, guys? Doing well. It's feels like fall's in the air, ready to get these games kicked off.
Yeah, yes, I woke up today, had a little bit of crisp in the air. I live in Indy, so it had that nice little bite, kind of felt like football season. But we'll go ahead and get it started. We'll start with Penn State getting 6 points at Wisconsin, over under 49 right now before the stream. What any thoughts on this one, boys? I mean, it's a good one to start the day. It'll be nice to see Camp Randall jumping around at the end of the third quarter, but I'm looking forward to this one to start the day.
Yeah, give me Penn State. I like Penn State. I think they're one of the teams in the Big Ten. A lot of people are talking about Wisconsin, Ohio State, but if you ask some of the coaches, Penn State is the team that a lot of people are worried about. Last year was kind of an anomaly, so unless Wisconsin can figure out how to throw the ball forward and complete it this year, I think this one could be tight.
Yeah, and I'm running with Wisconsin today, minus the 6. I just think last year I don't want to base too much around it with the COVID-riddled season for both teams. Penn State and Wisconsin both battled COVID throughout the season, so I think last year's hard to judge. Wisconsin, they always have those beefy offensive linemen. I like this running back, Jalen Berger. I think he's going to rotate in a little. He's a freshman, New Jersey product, and I just think they'll be able to move the ball enough. And the Penn State offense, I'm not too high on with Clifford at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Goose there. I'm on Wisconsin for the day. It might be recency bias, but just the last couple of games we've seen over the last 2 days with the home field advantage, it's probably swaying me just a little bit too much. But I'm excited to see Camp Randall and how it affects the game. Just because it's nice to have those fans impacting the game again.
For sure.
That could be a big thing this season with the fans. I'm very excited to watch. It was hard for me to watch college football last year because it's all about the alumni, the tradition, the fans. And when that was taken away, it felt a little like JV football. So I'm very excited for the fans this season.
Yeah, we'll move on to one of the bigger games of the day, Alabama taking on Miami. I mean, it's a big game in terms of like program tradition and everything, but I'm not sure it's going to be much of a game. Alabama is 11-2 against the spread in their last 13 season openers under Saban. I don't see it being much of a game. Jake, what do you think?
No, I think Alabama's going to run through them like a finish line. I got Bama at 19.5. Actually bought a point when it came out at 17.5 a couple weeks ago and got it to 16 and a half in my personal. So I feel pretty good about that one. But look, Alabama's better at Miami in practically every position. I don't think Miami's going to be able to slow down the run, which means they're not going to have to put too much on Bryce Young. I think you'll see Alabama come out, and it'll be kind of a slow drip on offense early. And as the game goes and Bryce gets settled in, I think they're going to win pretty big.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I think Alabama's defense is going to be more like some of the ones from years past, not like the one we saw the last couple of years where they're giving up points here and there. It's just going to be shut down. They'll be able to stop Derek King throughout the game. And I don't think they have the offensive line at Miami to deal with the depth that Alabama has up front.
True.
And Jake, you just mentioned you feel Alabama outclasses Miami in every position, but there's one position that I really feel is important for my play. I like the under because I think Miami has like the best punter in the nation. I feel a lot of punts from Miami. I feel that Alabama defense is going to step up, and that Miami punter is going to pin Alabama all day. And I just think with the freshman quarterback we saw with Ohio State the other night, they came out a little slow. He got his feet wet, and then they started making plays. I see Bill O'Brien was a great coach at Penn State, suspect NFL coach, but I feel he'll be a little more conservative with the freshman quarterback. So I like the under 61 because I think the Miami punter will give Alabama bad field position all day.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I just, again, I don't think Miami has the depth defensively, really wherever Alabama starts, because what's going to happen is once Alabama gets up on you, if they get up on them 14, then it changes the way you have to approach them offensively. Sure. Ball's going to get thrown in there a lot. Don't be surprised to see maybe 1 or 2 defensive touchdowns from Alabama today. That's the only reason why I'd be a little nervous on that. But in theory, I don't think Miami's going to score a lot, so it's really not a bad bet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got the Alabama first half, Alabama full game. If you play that every week, you're gonna turn out profitable. I mean, I did it all last season. It worked out for me very well. I mean, it's hard to beat it, and especially in a game where they're only 10.5 at half or at the first half line. I think it'll be at least 14, if not 21, 24 point spread at half. All right, moving on to one of my personal favorite games of the day. Indiana getting 3.5 going to Iowa. This is another one where I'm getting kind of torn by the home field crowd because Indiana had a great season last year. They were one of the Cinderella stories of college football, but it all happened without fans in the stands. So I'm a little worried to see how they react, but on the other side, they also have one of the better quarterbacks in the country when healthy, and Mike Penix. And then they're also one of the best coached teams in college football, in my opinion. Goose, do you have any thoughts on the game or any plays?
So I am on Indiana plus 3.5. I got it earlier at plus 4.5. I won't lie, I don't have the strongest read on this game, so I don't want to spill out too much. I just think Indiana is a jumpstart program. I think last season they showed they were a great season. I know you can't take too much. It was an empty stadium, but Penix is a great quarterback, very athletic. I think he's a great college quarterback where when he puts his head down when he needs to, he'll get that first down. And so I don't have the strongest play on this game, but I am going to ride with Indiana. How about you, Jake?
I'm taking Indiana money line.
Nice.
I think they're going to win the game. I'm not sold on Iowa offensively. I think they're going to have to kick a lot of field goals. And again, I like the veteran quarterback play, but I like what Tom Allen's done in Indiana. I mean, I think they have a better roster than Iowa does. And they play. They're very mature. They're very organized. And again, just that veteran leadership offensively and defensively with Penix coming off the injury. I think they go up there and beat them. I like the money. I'm going to take Indiana money line on that.
I've got Indiana money line as well. I got them on the spread. They're set. They were the best team against the spread last year. They're 7-1. They've covered 7 straight as a road underdog and 7 straight conference games, and that's tied with Alabama as the longest streak in the country.
It's pretty good.
So I mean, they're one of the better coached teams. Like I think the fans will have a little bit of an impact. But if it's on a neutral field, I think Indiana's a favorite. I mean, or at least just getting, or it's going to be a pick 'em. So I like Indiana in this spot with Michael Penix healthy. As long as he's healthy, I'm riding with Indiana this year.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to Louisiana Lafayette at Texas. Louisiana Lafayette. It seems like a fishy line, getting 8.5. I've listened to your show this week, Jake. You've been kind of on the fence about the LSU line, saying, what does Vegas know that we don't? And I've been thinking the same thing about this game all week. And I don't see it. I mean, Louisiana is, again, one of the better coached teams in the country. Getting there with Billy Napier there. They've won 10 games each of the last 2 years. They went up to Iowa State last year and upset Iowa State at the beginning of the season. I don't see, and they return the second most production in the country from last year. So I don't see why the line's 8.5 given this Texas team. What do you think, Jake?
This is one, if I could avoid, I would avoid at all costs, just because of, if it smells funny, it probably is funny. Gun to my head pick, I like the under. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored. Just because that's the way that Lafayette's going to want to play it. They're going to want to muck it up. That's what they do. Texas, I know they're returning a decent amount up front. We'll see Hudson Card, how he does coming out, replacing Ellinger. But, man, I like the under in this, and it's just a weird line. This is one I looked at and was just like, ew.
Yeah. I mean, it started to trickle down towards 7 earlier in the week, and then it shot right back up to 8.5. So I don't understand what's going on with it. Goose, do you have any feelings on this one?
Well, so I might be wrong on this one, but I believe the game started at like -12 and just got bet down early on because these lines have been out for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go like a 12-point line, I could see Louisiana covering, but I feel like it's a 10-point game. I don't have a full side on this game. I do like that angle from the under from Jake. Yeah. I think Louisiana is a strong team. I think that conference is pretty strong. I believe Coastal Carolina is also in that conference.
Liberty too.
Yeah, that's a great conference. Chance up. I saw one of our comments. But yeah, I would lean the under. I'm gonna watch that game. I'm gonna root for Louisiana. That's the kind of game where I want to root for the underdog, and I honestly just don't mess with Texas anymore, leaving the SEC. So I'm full on leaving for the SEC. Sorry, I'm full on rooting for Louisiana, but I don't want to make a play. I just think that's gonna be a very entertaining game. New coach at Texas, new quarterback. It's hard to make a play because it's so unknown that game. We'll have a better read as we get a couple weeks in.
I'm starting to feel like the guy from Dark Knight, where my dogs are hungry. The underdogs that I have today, because I'm going to take Louisiana money line as well. After what they did to Iowa State last season, and just all the production they have returning with Texas breaking in a new head coach and new starting quarterback, I know there will be fans in the stands. I know they'll have an actual home field advantage, but I just think they're very well coached by Billy Napier, and I could see him pulling off the upset again. If not, I mean, 8.5 just seems like a lot, especially for how talented this team is.
Definitely.
And then we'll move on to the biggest game of the day, the one everyone is going to be talking about all day. LSU playing UCLA in the Rose Bowl. I'm just kidding. It's going to be Georgia and Clemson in Charlotte. It's one of the better opening weekend games of the last decade. I feel like I can't remember a better one to kick off the season with. I know the Alabama-Florida State one was billed as kind of this in the same perspective, but I don't think that's going to come anywhere close to how good this game is going to be. Mm-hmm. I know you're high on Georgia this year, Jake, so let's hear it. Let's make the play for Georgia here.
Yeah, look, I keep hearing all this Clemson love. I know Georgia's a little beat up. Darnell Washington, the tight end, is probably not going to play. Kieris has been a little banged up. Pickens tore his ACL. Arik Gilbert's, getting his mind right off the field. But, Clemson's coming in here with Tyler Davis not playing, okay, which is huge on the defensive line. Skowski gets ejected in every game he plays in like this, so I think that's just a matter of time. I think there's a few more guys out on defense that you're not going to find out about until right before the game today. And Justin Ross, to me, isn't going to be full speed at wide receiver. So Clemson's not coming in here unbattered and bruised or anything going on like that. But when I look at the front seven, the biggest matchup to me is Georgia's front seven on defense versus Clemson's offensive line. And Dabo came out and said they're going to rotate centers. That is a very, very, very tough thing to do. That's a lot to ask. And Jordan Davis, who is literally straight out of Mordor, going up against a center that, is rotating and can't get into a rhythm or this, that, and the other, it just spells disaster for me. And I think it's going to free up Nakobe Dean at Mike to be able to run around and make plays. I think Georgia's going to force turnovers. And I think you're actually going to see Georgia come out and be a little exotic, on offense. They're like the girl that, always, wears like a nun outfit around, and then all of a sudden, right when you get in the bedroom, throws on a bunch of lingerie. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I feel like the Georgia offense is going from towards. So I like Georgia money line in this. Give me Georgia.
I got you with that. I hear you with that. I just I feel like Clemson is a little weaker in running back than they usually are. Obviously, when you lose a talent like ETN, you're gonna drop back with your running back productivity, and that's why I feel like the strength of Georgia, their defense, is their front seven. But I think Clemson is gonna air the ball out a lot. I think DJ Uiagalelei is a great pocket passer. I think he'll be able to find his targets. I know he'll have pressure in his face, but everyone compares him to Big Ben because he's just such a big body. I think he'll be able to stand in there and take the hits. I think he's a seasoned quarterback, even though he's only going to his third career start. I say that because he's just so mature, so big, great leader. I think Clemson will be able to move the ball in the air. I think Clemson's defense, look, JT Daniels came in very hot last season. I just think his deep ball won't fly against a level like Clemson. Clemson has lost their last two huge games to LSU in the national championship and Ohio State last year in the playoffs. So Clemson hasn't been performing well against these big dogs. I just think early in the season, Clemson with the better quarterback will be able to move the ball and cover this game.
Yeah, I'm on Jake's side. After I heard the rotating centers, it sold it for me. I was on the fence, leaning towards Georgia, and that was just everything I needed to hear. You can't rotate centers against Georgia's front seven.
Yeah.
It seems like such an impossible task. Like, it's hard enough to do against probably an ACC opponent, and then you're going to play one of the best and most talented front sevens in the country. I don't want to. I went through the offensive woes as an LSU fan, just waiting for it to finally click and the change to happen. So I want to. I'd rather be on Georgia and see them come out in a changed and new and modern offense, and be on that side as opposed to watching it, because if they open up the offense, it's going to be scary with the talent that they have and with JT Daniels now at quarterback.
One more thing I want to say about this game is I believe Georgia has lost. Now, a team like Georgia, a team like Alabama, a team like Clemson, they reload every year so perfectly. But I think Georgia lost their top 6 players in the secondary from last season. I know they're going to reload, but I just think when you have talented wide receivers across the board, I get hearing you don't think Justin Ross won't come back strong. He's been out for so long. It's a heck of a story. Justin Ross is the story of college football to me, and I think if he can make some plays, this Georgia secondary could be suspect.
Whew. I don't know, man. I think they're pretty good. I think and speed, and I mean they probably got 3 NFL guys back there. But look, and the reason I think Justin's banged up still. I think he rolled his ankle or did something to his foot last week in practice, at least what I heard, or early last week. So again, an 80% Justin Ross is better than a 0% Justin Ross. But who really else outside of them from skill position wise is somebody we're really looking to break out? I don't think this is a year where they've got a Hunter Renfrow and a Justin Ross and that's and again here the thing is, if you can't protect the passer, then it puts you in a very different situation, not only play calling, but executing, and it throws the timing off. So I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I was surprised that the over-under was at 50.5, but I like it.
Did you end up playing the over, like you mentioned, Jake? I know you said you like.
Yeah, Cone added it, so he got it 50.5. So I guess since he's with me, I guess we gotta roll with it.
Yeah, I remember you saying if it's 2 great defensive teams, play the over.
Yes,
so I agree with you there. I'd rather be on the over and have it be close game back and forth than betting the under and watching the points go up. I mean, life's just too short to bet the under. So I was sweating it out the other night with the UCF under. So they made us.
Wow, it hit.
Winners only. That's
winners
what
only.
we give
winners
out.
only.
All right, and to the final big game on the slate, LSU getting 2.5, going across the country to playing in the Rose Bowl. I'm looking forward to this game just because I'm a huge LSU fan. I mean, anyone who knows me knows that, and it'll be awesome to see LSU's color like uniforms with the Rose Bowl sunset in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I'll be able to like see that in my lifetime, so I'm glad like we're getting fans in the stands. It's going to be a full. I don't think it'll be a full game with how UCLA's crowd showed up last week, but they're trying to give away tickets to anyone they can.
Yeah.
In LA. So I'm excited, Jake. I know that's the bet you feel best about this week going off your show.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think they're going to run their ass out of the yards. What I think is going to happen. I watched UCLA last week against Hawaii, or the people that attempted to play football for Hawaii last week. Was not impressed with the Dorian kid at quarterback. I thought he looked even rattled against them. And I just think LSU is pissed off. And I think LSU is very talented. And Edo is a great motivator. They've had to, everybody talks about them having to be displaced this past week and stuff, but they've just been able to focus on football.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what they've been able to. And the only real normal thing that's going to happen to them is tonight, where they can go play on that field and they don't have to worry about any of this outside stuff. And I think Max Johnson has a chance to be really special. I think Boutte is elite at wide receiver, can play inside and out. You're going to see a couple guys step up tonight you probably didn't expect. They'll rotate at running back, but I think this defense is going to get at least 3 turnovers, maybe 4 against UCLA, and I think it's going to be the difference. Give me the LSU Fighting Tigers, because listen, I could probably find a better team in the upper corner of Lower Alabama, to be honest with you.
Yeah. For me, it's Dorian or DTR last week completing 50% of his passes against maybe one of the worst teams it looked like I've ever seen playing college football.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just going to add in 2 future first-round picks on the outside and just a talented group, new group, but a talented group at safety. The deepest defensive line I've seen at LSU probably since that 2011 team. And now like you got maybe the perfect guy for the job in Edo, and getting them motivated to play for the state of Louisiana after last weekend's hurricane. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of heavy hearts in terms of like the material, hopefully just material loss that they suffered last week. But I think Ed Orgeron, there's no one better for LSU in this spot in making sure they're focused on the game. And the last time, I mean, just from my personal experience, I saw a Chip Kelly team go up against an SEC defense. Like, it's never worked out. Mm-hmm. His scheme had, like, once you're able to match the speed on defense that UCLA is going to bring on offense, like it just, and then you have the depth that LSU is going to be able to bring on the defensive line in the front 7. It just doesn't seem like a good matchup for me. I don't know why the spread is so low. I don't know if it's just public pounding UCLA after last week or what it is, but I think LSU is going to be ready. It's not like the Tulane game where they had to like switch the location of the game and just scramble everything. Like they got to practice all week in a NFL facility, which is pretty much just what they did at LSU. So I'm not too nervous about it, but I'm sure as it gets closer to kickoff, butterflies will be going a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have a play on this game. I didn't watch the UCLA Hawaii game. I was high on UCLA last week.
I thought you said you didn't watch it because you were high.
Nah, so I mean, I didn't watch that game. I don't have a play this week. I just I really like that Michigan transfer running back Charbonnet from UCLA. He had 6 rushes, 3 touchdowns. I want to say 100 yards. But other than that, I'm gonna just stay away from this game. Sam is the LSU fan. Jake, you persuaded me. You guys both persuaded me to think LSU. Sorry, LSU.
Be honest, Goose. Be honest with us.
So yeah, I mean, I would just listen to those 2 for the game. I wanted to play the over, but the over's dropped 6 points, so I don't want to touch it now. Even though I guess you could say maybe there's value now because it dropped 6 points. I think it was at 70. Now it's at 64. But nothing for me today for that game.
Yeah, I think LSU's offensive line will definitely struggle. That's going to be the Achilles heel of this team for the season in terms of like getting them back to like national championship contention. But I think the defense is absolutely loaded, and they have someone who can actually coach them, and it's not going to be receivers running without an LSU defender on the screen like it was last year. At least hopefully not. But yeah, so that will conclude our big games of the day. We can go ahead and recap our cards. I'll throw in JD's since he wasn't able to join us. He had a busted laptop all day, or laptop busted yesterday. He's on Cincinnati minus 13.5 in the first half, Nevada plus 3.5, Oregon State plus 7.5, Stanford, Kansas State over 53, and Mertz under 228.5 passing yards. Jake, you want to recap your picks for the day?
Yeah, Georgia money line, LSU minus 2.5, Alabama minus 19.5, Penn State, what was it, +6 or was it +5.5?
It's +6.
+6, gonna be Penn State +6. What was the other one? Am I missing one? I feel like that's it. Oh, and hey, I will tell you this: if you can get Louisville +10 right now, do it. Just trust me.
Lane Kiffin with COVID
he ain't
announced
the
this
only
morning,
one.
right?
He ain't the only one. Just trust me.
Oh no! All right, we might have gotten a little sneak peek there.
I like that.
Just trust me.
Monday night.
Yeah.
Little Monday night nugget. Well, damn, that just changed everything how I was going to bet that game. So
Yeah,
I might just stay away and enjoy the show on Monday. But
yeah, well,
I'll run through my card real quick, or I guess as quick as I can since it's a 12-play card. I got Wisconsin minus 5.5, Penn State, Wisconsin under, Fresno State plus 20.5. I think Oregon's going to be in a look-ahead spot with Ohio State next week. We got Indiana plus 3.5, Indiana money line, Bama first half, Bama full game, Louisiana Lafayette plus 8.5, Louisiana Lafayette money line, Georgia plus 3, Georgia money line, Georgia Clemson over 51, and LSU minus 3. My dogs are hungry today. Goose, your card?
Yeah, so I'm going to have the Alabama-Miami under 61. Again, I really like that Miami punter. I'm going to go Clemson minus 3. I just I feel like after their last two disappointments against big-time teams, I hope they show up. Wisconsin minus 6, Indiana plus 3.5, and I am on Nevada plus 3.5. I really like the Nevada offense against Cal today.
And Jake, you had IU money line. I think that was the one you were
Indiana
forgetting.
money line, and then I like Kentucky minus 30.5 today against La Monroe. I don't think La Monroe could win an inter-squad game right now, so I'm heavy on that. I'm actually super duper heavy. I'm morbidly obese on that.
Good luck with that one. I'll have to look into that. That's definitely a tail play after hearing that part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Jake is gone. We have been paid for play. Let's go win some money today, folks. Enjoy college football.
All right.